for a moment due to noise. Happened where yeah, that's right. And it'll be underwater. Hey there, Q20 family. I want to talk to you about my latest safety upgrade that I did for my Q20, and that is my Kemimoto mirrors. And these mirrors are really nice in that they're, one, lightweight. We don't want to add any weight to it. And they're a universal mirror for motorcycles, ATVs, and also e-bikes that have this grommet. And there's a little plastic grommet. I'm going to pull this out. And underneath it, there is a M8 right-hand threaded hole to which these mirrors can be mounted. Now, these mirrors are intended to be universal, and with that, they come with a number of adapter fittings for M8 and M10 threading, both right-handed and left-handed. And we're going to go ahead and mount up the right-hand side one, and I'm going to do this one because the left-hand side is really easy. On the right-hand side, though, we have the ignition. We also have the shifter, and so there's a number of things getting in the way. Now, to get started with this, you're going to need a few particular tools. It does come with this wrench from Kemimoto. However, I prefer to use better tools. And so with that said, I'm going to be using a 14 and a 17 millimeter wrench. And then you're also going to need two Allen wrenches, or hex keys is called depending on where you are. One of them is a 4 millimeter and the other one is a 2.5 millimeter. And then finally, you're going to need a Phillips head screwdriver. And to get started here, what we're going to do is we've already removed the hole covering up the threaded receiving end. You're going to need to take the 2.5 millimeter and you're going to need to loosen up your ignition so that you can slide this out of the way. Next, you're going to need the 4 millimeter so that you can loosen up and get the brake lever down and out of the way. Now, initially, you're going to lift it up, though, so that you can take the Phillips screwdriver and get underneath the shifter and loosen this. The shifter is going to need to come up, and then you will move the brake lever out of the way, tighten this down, tighten down the shifter in a more upright position. Now, the reason we needed to move the shifter is because as we put in the, let's see here, the correct adapter, what will end up happening is if you haven't moved the shifter out of the way, when you go to shift, it'll actually run into the arm of the mirror. So I'm going to go ahead and insert this. Take my 14 millimeter, slightly tighten this down. Be careful, don't muscle it. This is cheap metal. You don't want to break anything. Next, you're going to take your mirror and you're going to turn the mirror into the receiving adapter. And you're going to keep turning this until it stops. Now, you'll see it stopped here. This is not where I want it. You're going to actually take it back. And then what you will do is underneath this rubber grommet, you have this bolt head that you can lower down so it butts up against the adapter that you put in. You will take the 14 millimeter, put it on the lower adapter piece, and then you're going to take your 17 millimeter and put it on the upper and tighten it down against the lower. Now, I'm going to hold my 14 millimeter in place because I'm tightening the 17 against that adapter. I don't want to over tighten. There we go. And now that's in place. And now I can adjust my mirror where I need it. Now, before I tighten everything up into its final place, the thing I want to show you is that in the factory position, this brake lever actually sits up here where my fingers are. And for you to brake, you actually have to reach up and over and then grasp. Your brakes in the riding position should be right there that you don't have to lift the hand to come up and around. And that way it's right there to grab. And so as you assemble this, what I would suggest is sit on your Q20, get into your riding position and then figure out exactly what is most comfortable for putting your hand onto the brake lever. And then finally, tighten everything up. Now, as you get ready to put everything back together, watch on the back side of the ignition. You have this cable that comes out. The back side of the ignition, this plastic plate is easy to pull out of here, so you want to be very gentle with that. And then lastly, you want to make sure before you tighten anything down, because the first thing that you're going to need to tighten will be the shifter lever. Make sure that the shifter lever can extend out and not hit the arm of the mirror. And then finally, once you have everything in place, you've got your ignition where you want it, you've got your brake lever where it's ergonomically good, and your shifter is no longer hitting that upright to the mirror, you're going to then slide this rubber grommet down and over the nut. And there you go. That's all it takes. With that knowledge, you should easily be able to take care of the left-hand side. It's much easier without everything being in the way. But I will tell you, having rode with my mirrors, I absolutely love having them on here. It is so much safer, and it's easier to be able to look in the mirror as opposed to trying to turn and look back, particularly now that we're in winter and I'm bundled up and I'm also wearing a helmet for protection. So there you have it. The tools: 14 millimeter, 17 millimeter wrench, 4 millimeter Allen, 2.5 millimeter Allen, and then you will need the Phillips screwdriver to be able to loosen and move the shifter and tighten that back down. I hope that helps. Consider it. The Kemimoto mirrors, I'm really happy with them. They are lightweight and they work. Okay, until next time, Q20 family, ride safe.